Well, joining us now from our Jerusalem studio is Manny Waks, Chief Executive Officer of the group Kol Va'az, which works on the issue of sex abuse in Jewish communities, has been working on this Malka Leifer case. And Manny, I know you were in the courtroom today in a big moment. Adass Israel seemed confident we may be finally reaching the end of this extradition saga. Take us through the next steps. How confident are you, though? Because we've heard that so many times before.
Well, today is an absolute momentous day from our perspective. We have been following this case closely for years, supporting these courageous survivors, and here we are today. Not many people believed we will get to this situation. Now, why today's result is so important is because it essentially says Malka Leifer is fit to face justice, and not only that, it says that she deliberately feigned her illness. She has been lying, and somehow she has managed to bring the entire system under, to ring them around the games. It's incredible that it has survived this long, and yet here we are. It's an incredible day for justice. We have a fair way to go. On the 20th of July, we have the extradition hearing itself, where we expect that to be a procedural process, because ultimately the government needs to, or the court needs to look at which country is involved, in this case Australia, the number of complainants, the seriousness of the crimes, and in this case it's a solid case, and we expect that to be simply a procedural process now.
All right. Manny, I want to read out a statement by the Australian Attorney General, Christian Porter. Whilst today's decision can be appealed, it is a positive sign and means that formal extradition proceedings can now lawfully commence. The allegations against Ms. Leifer are very serious, and the Australian government remains strongly committed to ensuring that justice is served in this case. And Manny, talk a little about how this case has affected relations between Israel and Australia, definitely one of its strongest supporters globally.
Absolutely. The Australian Jewish community is considered to be one of the most Zionist, supporting Israel, and from a number of perspectives, including financial, for a range of projects, considers itself to be really a Zionist community. Yet this has proven to be a hurdle throughout these last few years, where even now it's gotten to a stage where traditional Zionist leaders are speaking out publicly even against the decisions, whether it was a few months ago of Prime Minister Netanyahu reappointing the health minister, despite the fact that the police have recommended to indict him for trying to prevent Malka Leifer from facing justice, or even President Reuven Rivlin, who was recently in Australia and deliberately took the decision not to meet the girls. What kind of message does this send? So while today's a momentous day, and it does pave the way for Malka Leifer to get on a plane and to face justice for her horrific crimes, but we must take this opportunity to reflect on what we've seen, how this process has endured. Today was hearing number 67. We've often heard about the mental anguish and the illness and the difficulties for Malka Leifer. What about her alleged victims, who are suffering day in, day out? And we hear it directly from them. If we're talking about justice, it's not only about the opportunity for fair trial, which, of course, we all need to support, but it is also about justice for the victims.
Right, and how significant, let's really broaden it out. There is this issue of sexual abuse in Jewish communities. Sometimes elements in the ultra-Orthodox community seek to suppress or cover this up. The impact this kind of decision, the message it may send in other similar cases.
Look, initially I would say over the last few years, when other victims and survivors of child sexual abuse in Jewish communities have observed this case and have monitored it, and this has attracted significant global audience, and it has shocked the Jewish communities around the world to the core. And others are looking at it and saying, why should I go to the police? Why should I lodge a complaint and give a statement and put myself through this grueling process of re-traumatization and the like? And at the end of it, what do we get? At least now, in this case, we have an incredible example of three courageous women who have taken a lead and have said we are going to pursue justice, and they have done so. And again, today's result, which means Malka Leifer is fit enough to face justice, essentially means Malka Leifer is going to be on a plane back. And we're seeing this issue more broadly, whether it's people using Israel as a safe haven, such as pedophiles around the world, Jewish communities, using it as an ir miklat. We need to address that. I personally have spoken and worked with the Knesset, and that's something on our agenda. We're going to work with them. Currently, the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse in the UK has been looking into the Jewish communities and again, the same thing is coming up.
It is a much broader issue. Manny Waks, thank you for joining us.